Hello, 6th class. Today we will start our next chapter, and this is chapter 8, the first empire, the Mauryas. Here is given some learning objectives that we will read in this chapter. First one is the Maurya dynasty, Emperor Ashoka, Mauryan administration, and decline of Mauryan empire. Okay, so now let's start the chapter. The Mauryan Empire. The Mauryan Empire. Okay. Introduction of the Mauryan Empire. Before going about the chapter, let we understand the introduction to the Mauryan Empire. The Maurya Empire is also known as Mauryan Empire. Was a geographically extensive Iron Age historical power in ancient India, ruled by the Maurya dynasty from 322 to 185 BCE, originating from the kingdom of Magadha. Which kingdom? Magadha, in the Indo-Gangetic plain. Now this time it is called Bihar, Eastern Uttar Pradesh, in the eastern side of the Indian subcontinent. The empire had its capital city at Patliputra. Which city? Patliputra. Now Chandragupta Maurya. The Maurya Empire was founded by Chandragupta Maurya. So question is there. Who was the founder of Chandragupta Maurya? So answer is there. Chandragupta Maurya. With the help of Chanakya. Chanakya कौन थे? A Brahmin teacher at Takshila. According to several legends, Chanakya travelled to Magadha, a kingdom that was a large and militarily power and feared by its neighbors, but was insulted by its king, Nanda, and of the Nanda dynasty. Chanakya swore revenge and vowed to destroy the Nanda empire. Got it? And after that, Chandragupta Maurya succeeded to the Nanda throne in 321 BC. And Chandragupta belonged to the Maurya tribe, but his caste was low. Young Maurya and his supporters were inferior in armed strength to the Nandas. Got it? Now the king Ashoka. Ashoka was the greatest emperor of ancient India. Okay, Ashoka the Great succeeded to the throne of Mauryan Empire after the death of his father. Got it? And he ruled the Maurya Empire from about 273 BC until his death. Ashoka was the grandson of Chandragupta, founder of the Mauryan dynasty. His father Bindusara ruled northern India for 29 years. Ashoka was a fierce military leader who expanded his kingdom in the Ganges-Jamuna valley. He continued his victorious campaign in southern and eastern India for 8 years. In 261 BC, he conquered Kalinga, and now it is called Odisha, a region on the east coast of India. And the Mauryan dynasty reached the height of its glory under Ashoka rule. He was the most popular ruler of the ancient India. H.G. Wells describes him as one of the greatest rulers in the world he has ever seen. Now, empire. Ashoka continued with the extension of his empire. Extent of Ashoka's empire. Look at this image carefully. This is the map, shows the extent of Ashoka's empire. Now the Kalinga War. The Kalinga War was fought between Mauryan Empire with Ashoka the Great and the ruler of the state of Kalinga, a feudal republic located on the coast of the present-day Indian state of Odisha and northern parts of Andhra Pradesh. Got it? And the Kalinga War, the only major war Ashoka fought after his ascension to the throne, is one of the major and bloodiest battle in the world history. How? Kalinga, then an independent region, put up a stiff resistance against brutal strength of Ashoka and fought bravely till the end. But despite being tough, they were outnumbered against Ashoka's armies. The bloodshed of this war is said to have prompted Ashoka to adopt Buddhism. After this war, means इस war के दौरान क्या हुआ? What happened? The death, destruction and suffering of the people at the battlefield filled Ashoka's heart with sorrow. He was shocked at what he had done. He decided not to fight any more wars and became a Buddhist. He adopted the policy of non-violence or ahimsa. Okay. He is the only king in the history of the world who gave up conquest after winning a war or tried to make up for the suffering caused by him. Now we are reading about the Mauryan administration. The empire was divided into 4 provinces with the imperial capital at Patliputra. Got it? From Ashokan edicts, the names of the 4 provincial capitals are Tosali, where in the east, Ujjain in the west, Suvarnagiri, where in the south, and Taxila, where in the north. Got it? The head of the provincial administration was the Kumara. Kumara, also known as royal prince, who governed the princes as king's representatives. Sorry, I am repeating again. The head of the provincial administration was the Kumara. Kumara, also known as royal prince, who governed the provinces as a king's representatives. The Kumara was assisted by Mahatmas, Mahamatyas and the Council of Ministers. This organizational structure was reflected at the imperial level with the emperor and his Mantri Parishad. Mantri Parishad, also known as Council of Ministers. Got it? Now Mauryan Empire administration also. Now we are reading. The Mauryan Empire had a smooth administration, smooth and efficient rulers. The government was centralized with a lot of staff to make sure that work was carried on smoothly. Taxes were collected regularly, and trade and commerce was carried on smoothly. Citizens were taken care of, and the army was always ready for any sort of external aggression or threat. Every province had its own official who managed administration at the grassroots level. The main economic activity of the people was agriculture. Is that clear? Now the capital city of Patliputra was beautiful decorated and had all facilities that any modern city would have. And art and architecture. Some of the finest example of Ashokan art are the famous Ashokan pillar. Okay, Ashokan pillar, and that he erected across the country. These columns were works of art, architecture and engineering. The pillar was made out of a single stone which was cut, shaped and polished. Mauryan architecture is also reputed to have been fabulous. The capital of Patliputra had been described by many travelers as one of the most amazing cities of the ancient world. Unfortunately, since the building material was essentially wood, not much of this has survived. Ashoka also constructed several stupas across the country, and with the most famous being the Sanchi stupa. Sanchi. Got it? And another example of Mauryan period. Just listen carefully, student. Another example of Mauryan period is the Great Stupa at Sanchi. It is perhaps the finest surviving relics of the Mauryan Empire. The Great Stupa is constructed as 54 feet in height, and it is surrounded by exquisitely carved stone railing. But it is famous and notable due to the four gateways. Before this, there was no such tradition of carving gateway, so construction of gateway can be said as the unique architectural techniques used by Mauryans. Got it? And these gateway are elaborately carved and depicts various scenes from the life of Buddha and also about the lifestyle of people in that era. But among these, the most famous lion capital pillar of showing four lions, famous capital, what it showed, pillar of showing four lions. It sandstone realistically represent the artistic achievement of Indian artists and patronage of their masters. Got it? Here is a given images, arc and architecture during that Ashoka's period. Sanchi Stup. This is the picture of Sanchi Stup and Ashoka's pillar here. Okay, this is the Ashoka pillar. Economy during Mauryan Empire. Which type of economy that time? So the existence of a stable centralized government and the unity of the subcontinent that is created resulted in the rapid development in the industry. The Mauryan economy was fairly developed for its time. For instance, all manufactured goods came stamped with the date that time, okay, which would then be used by consumers to determine the age of the product. Prices were monitored to ensure that a merchant was not making too great a profit. The Mauryan kings used to import figs, cloths, and beautiful vessels made out of silver. The Mauryan exports were chiefly items of luxury like a fine muslin cloths. Got it? And society that time during Mauryan Empire, the Mauryan society was divided into 7 categories. How many? 7 categories, and named philosophers, farmers, soldiers, headsmen, artisans, magistrates, and councillors. So there were the 7 categories during the Mauryan Empire, and these divisions were referred as a castes because the members of a particular division were not allowed to marry outside their group and were also not allowed to change their profession. Got it? Yes. And the 7 divisions of the society were not identical with each other and differed in terms of rules and regulation. The caste system was strongly prevalent in the Mauryan society. The twice born, that is the Brahmanas and the Kshatriya, enjoyed a special privilege in the society because of their status of being twice born. And the Vaishyas, though theoretically were twice born, but they were not able to enjoy a privileged position similar to the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas. Okay. And now Dhamma. What is the Dhamma? Dhamma for Ashoka was a set of moral principles to be followed. It was not about worship of God or performing rituals or sacrifices. He felt that just a father tries to teach his children, he had a duty to teach his subjects. He was also inspired by the teaching of Buddha. Okay, and you have learnt in the previous chapter the rise of new religions, which were Buddhism and Jainism. Now here Ashoka was a great follower of the Buddhism. Okay, he wanted people to understand and follow Dhamma in their daily life. The word Dhamma is the Prakrit form of the Sanskrit word Dharma. Okay, Dharma. There have been attempts to define and find equivalent English word for it, such as piety, moral life, and righteousness. But scholars could not translate it into English because it was coined and used in a specific context. The word dharma has multiple meaning in the literature and thought of ancient India. The best way to understand what Ashoka means the Dhamma is to read his edicts, which were written to explain the principle of Dhamma to people to that time throughout the empire. Okay. And Ashoka's policy also given in Dhamma. Dhamma is the Prakrit form of Sanskrit word dharma. However, try to use it in a much wider sense. His Dhamma was a code of moral duties, benevolent acts, and freedom from passion for an individuals. It comprised personal, social, and moral virtues. The principle of Dhamma were such as could be acceptable to people belonging to any religious sect. Also, the some principles given in Dhamma were what were to respect and obey parents, elders, and teachers, to be polite and kind to youngers, dependents, slaves, and subordinates, to practice ahimsa or non-violence and abstain from killing or injury any living being, to be moderate in spending or acquiring possessions, to give money to the poor and education to the illiterate, and to have a truthful, honest, pure, and simple life. Okay. And one more thing, students. Ashoka wanted people to follow Dhamma in their daily life and benefit from it. He himself set an example by following Dhamma in daily life. Okay. He gave up hunting and eating meat. So, here is given the chronology of Mauryan dynasty, approximate dates of Mauryan dynasty. Just observe carefully and attentively. Reason start and reign add. Here is a given emperor. reign start कब से कब तक रहे उनका kingdom. First Chandragupta Maurya, time period also given. Then Bindusara, his time period also given. Ashoka the Great, Dashratha, Samprapti, Saliska, Deva Burman, Satyadhavan, and Brihadratha. Okay, time period also given. Now here is a given collapse of Mauryan Empire. First of all, I want to describe the steps to spread Dhamma by Ashoka. Ashoka got his message inscribed on rocks and pillars in different parts of his empire, and they were generally put in public places like a temple and markets where a large number of people could see and read them. He instructed his official to read the message to those who could not read it themselves. And Ashoka himself toured his empire and visited holy places. He appointed officials known as the Dhamma Matras who went from place to place teaching people about Dhamma. He sent a messenger to spread ideas about Dhamma to other land, where such as Syria, Egypt, Greece, and Sri Lanka. He sent his own son and daughters to Sri Lanka to spread Buddhism. Okay. He was the first ruler who tried to take his message to the people through inscriptions. Now here is a given कि what मौर्यन एम्पायर के पतन के गिरने के क्या मेन रीजंस थे. सो आफ्टर अशोका's डेथ द मौर्यन एम्पायर began to decline. Unfortunately, the later Mauryan rulers did not leave behind much recorded material for us to draw a clear picture of exactly what happened. The disintegration of the Mauryan Empire was perhaps inevitable. Ashoka's completely move away from violence. Violence was perhaps what weakened the empire. After the famous Kalinga War, which changed Ashoka completely. Once an empire of its size was without a strong ruler or an army, The distinction that took place could only be expected. India once again disintegrated into a series of a smaller kingdom, and it was not until 320 AD, almost 500 years later, when the Gupta dynasty founded India's next major empire. Now we have discussed about the Mauryan administration also, and these are the collapse of Mauryan Empire. End of the Mauryan rule. Okay, it means the after the death of Ashoka, when in 232 BC Mauryan Empire disintegrated because Ashoka's successors they were very weak and were unable to control such as vast empire, and large grants given to Buddhist monks and huge expenses on the army and administration emptied the royal treasury. The Brahmanas went against him because of his criticism of rituals and sacrifices. Okay. So now this chapter is over, student. You watch this video attentively and read the chapter. In next video we will do exercise and question answer of this chapter.